So you were saying about the revelation?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Let's begin at the beginning. Let's begin at the beginning. Okay. Now, the Lord told me in a dream, woke me up, startled me in the summer of 2009. It may have been July, between June, July, something like that. 3 years ago, 2009. So I wasn't bothering God. Now He had told me similar things, but not as clearly as at this time. At this time, now the other things that He had said agreed with this that I'm going to share. They prepared me for this. They agree with this, but they weren't as profound as this. And that is, and this is that.
Who they?
Dreams and visions that the Lord gave me about the point that I'm going to make now. So therefore, when He gave me this profound revelation, it wasn't that unfamiliar to me, because He had already shared similar things that prepared me for this. And that is
this main one.
This main one, right. He had already been telling me similar things. So when He told me this one, I wasn't totally surprised.
So Lord been telling you things in the past?
Yes. Yes. Many years. Yes.
And
so what is the thing that the Lord showed me in 2009 that was so profound and so freaking out of this world? Well, I wasn't bothering Him because I never bother Him. He always bothers me. I doesn't need to ask God, and let's see if the Lord might show a vision. Let's see if He might make me dream a dream. Get of it. Let's try hard.
so how does He bother you?
Let's see. Maybe God will show me something. I'm gonna try. I need to see, and I'm not there no more. I ain't there no more.
How does the Lord bother you?
He just does, man. Because there's something called Shekinah glory. Now, there's the presence of God. The presence of God can be referred to as the Spirit of God, the hand of the Lord, the word of the Lord. The word of the Lord came unto the prophets. They carried the burden of the Lord. There's a lot of different kinds of presences from the Lord. But in the Bible, there is a word used, Shekinah, which actually itself is not in the Bible. But when the Bible talks about God came and rested upon, the Spirit of God rested upon, let's say, for example, Israel, it indicates a permanent dwelling, as of God saying, you know what? I'm buying this property. I own. This is where I live. I will visit here. I will travel there. I'll go there temporarily. I'll hang over there. But this is my home. I will rest here. So it's a more profound presence of God. When you refer to God coming and resting on something or someone, it's more profound than just that the word of the Lord came unto, or the Spirit of God came here or visited there, or God sent an angel, or He sent a messenger, because those things, for the most part, are temporary. But in certain instances, those things are permanent. And in the instances where those things are permanent, it really is talking about the Shekinah glory. So that's what we're talking about now. So the Shekinah glory is here. He doesn't come here once in a while and visit me and give me a message and hang with me and chill me and then out. He's here all the time. So yes, I am resting in Him and with Him, and He with me, and I doesn't have to try and get a vision, try and get the ear of God, and try and see if the Lord will take notice of me and visit me and do something. No, He came and He has remained. So I'm glad.
So in other words, you are tuned to the God's presence
yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So you're the person here on earth.
Yeah.
Here on earth, David A. Castro is the person that's tuned to the God's presence.
Thank you. Yes, you got it.
And you can broadcast the God's messages to us.
From here, yes. Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
You may go to this one and you may go to that one. There are Christians around the world. There are people who hear from God around the world. And there are others upon whom the Spirit of God rests. The Shekinah glory does, in the resting permanent presence, does come to others, not only to me, but that I am one.
So you're one of them.
Yes.
who can be tuned to the God's
Yes.
presence
Yes.
on earth.
Yeah. So the Holy Spirit has many channels, but some are more rich, more profound, and more than others. And I'm one of those guys. Yeah. Just call me.
All right, so we'll call you the
Now, with that in mind,
prophet.
yeah. So with that in mind, and keep in mind, like I just said,
Right.
I'm not the only one. You understand?
Right.
I mean, just look at the Bible. God had a powerful prophet over here, and then He had another powerful prophet over there. You know what I'm saying?
So formally, we should call you a prophet.
I'm sorry.
Formally, we should call you a prophet.
Well, if we were going to get all technical, that's not inappropriate. In fact, in some churches where this type of ministry, this type of office exists, yeah, they like to dignify their leadership, and they'll call the pastor a pastor. They'll call an evangelist an evangelist, and they'll call a prophet a prophet. And that's not inappropriate. Me, I'm a Renaissance guy. I'm outside the mainstream of the church world. I'm just a regular guy, and I'm secure in who I am and what I am with God. Therefore, I doesn't care. Give me a title. Don't give me. I don't care. You can call me David. You can, hey Dave, David A. Hey Castro. You know, call me. You know, you want to call me, oh, Prophet Castro. It's not inappropriate, but then, I doesn't care.
So are you saying that?
I didn't get to my vision.
Yes.
3 years ago, what happened? Well, go ahead.
Well, here's the question. Are you saying that with modern day, with development and industry, the world is evolutionizing using all these techniques? So instead
Techniques
of
or terms?
technical stuff, and everything is developing. Sure. Everything is moving forward and forward.
Yeah.
As the technology, as and
democratization of cultures and individuals. Yes.
And also terms. So
right.
As somebody modern like you would not be necessarily called a prophet as they did it in past years, but with all this evolutionization,
it's easier now to just treat me and call me like a regular person. That's totally appropriate and not inappropriate. 50 years
regular, but not
not
not necessarily very regular, because you're tuned to something that other people are not tuned.
Right, exactly. Exactly. But I personally, as an individual, accept it because I'm not concerned, for a title, an image that I have to present. All that has been collapsed, and so in a democratic state of mind, I'll dignify you if you have a title. I'll call you by that title if you wish. If you say, no, that's cool, I am that, but just call me Vitali, then we'll do that. Same here. No, you can dignify me and call me Prophet David A. Castro, Prophet Castro. That's all good, but I'm more comfortable, and I think you will be. You just call me David, or Tony, or, David A., or whatever, But for the larger church,
separate you from me, like from
the mainstream
regular
church,
people, or people that are not tuned to the divine like you are, how would we refer to a person like you? Not necessarily you, but to a person like you.
Me or a person like me?
I'm talking about people who are tuned to God's presence and can.
I don't know if we're in a setting, if we're in a place that we need to make a distinction, then you say, oh, by the way, David is Prophet David, then we can make that distinction to clarify to people who are we talking. Yeah, but to make it into an image thing, we got to dignify this guy. No, because there are people who really are prophets, and there are people who are not prophets, and they will go ahead and call themselves prophets for image purposes, for representation purposes, so as to propagate a doctrine, a religion, a book, or something that somehow puts the light on them. That's not totally wrong, though, because if God indeed has His light on them, and if God indeed wants to put the light on their ministry, their book, etc., then that's totally fine.
Okay, all right. So,
yeah.
well, we got this notion that you can tune to the God's presence, and you can you can obstruct some messages from the God's presence.
I can extract.
Extract, right.
And hear stuff.
And you can.
And I can see and feel stuff too, sometimes.
And then you can interpret it to people.
Yeah, that's right. Now, in the past.
Like in the past, you predicted Obama's
yeah.
election and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right. So.
And also Bush Jr.'s first term in 2000. Yeah. And listen. I don't try to predict president. You know, like some prophets and pastors and ministers, they have an image, and they have an image of spirituality that they have to convince people of how spiritual they are. Therefore, in certain current important political events and events around society, or even at the turn of the year, whenever there's a new year, they feel the obligation to show their people, oh, well, for the coming year, God is saying this.
All right, so you're not trying to...
I don't do that.
But it happens.
I don't do it. It happens. Now, in the past, when I was younger in these things, in my making the way for the Lord to be able to speak through me and show me things, yes, I had to train myself. So I had to try. There's nothing wrong with that. The Bible says that we should lust after the gifts of the Holy Spirit, the things of God, the supernatural. We should seek the things which are above. We should set our affections on them. We should open up and yield to the anointings of the Holy Spirit. We should lust after them like a man lusts after a woman's breasts.
Nice.
Yes, the Bible does say. So we got to do that. So I did do that. And I could tell you how I did it right here in this room. How did I do it? Well, oh my God, this is going to take a whole day.
So you were saying about the wolves.
We can call it.
What are the wolves?
We can call it spiritual exercises. Okay, so when I sought God, I always sought God from when I was a child.
Oh, that's another.
But I actually became a Christian in Anaheim.
No, that's another topic. We're not going to discuss it now.
But the Lord did save me there, and when I got saved, I had a passion that has remained all these decades.
Well, let's go into. You had a revelation for me, so let's start.
Okay, so then we're gonna backtrack
that's
to the
like a totally different discussion.
Yeah, because I wanted to share how I yielded and I put my effort. I read books. I prayed in tongues a lot. I did a lot of fasting.
It's a big topic.
And
if you want to go into it now, it's gonna be like
real quickly.
All right.
But the thing is that I yielded. And I tried. I really tried to really melt myself and open up. And that was an important part of my spiritual experience, because yes, he did of his own volition dump his stuff on me, but it was not completely without my open disposition. You see,
him meaning the Lord.
The Lord, yes. So you see, it wasn't that I was totally out of sync and then he just boom, boom, boom. There was obviously some interest. In fact, there was a whole lot of interest on my part. But it was after I got saved that then I really yielded. And when I started working in the post office, and God, the ceiling just began to open up and show me things, and I would see spiritual heavenly things and hear God's voice and get dreams and visions, chances out of body experiences, and I would see Jesus' face. In fact, one time he took a picture of me. I heard,
Jesus.
Yes, or
Jesus
an angel, or an angel. I heard a camera snap. I saw the flash as those cameras did, 30 years ago. And then I saw the photograph. He showed me the photograph of what he just took. And it was a picture of me, almost like in a cocoon, because I used to sleep on the floor. I slept on the floor for 18 years. I didn't have a bed for 18 years after I came back from Hawaii.
That's rough.
Yeah. After I came back from Hawaii, even though I worked in the post office and I could have bought a bed, I did not. For some reason, I opted for the floor, simply to have more room in my room, and also because I got used to it, having slept on the floor for a very long time during the 10 months that I was in Hawaii. So I was comfortable with the floor. Anyway, the picture that he showed me, the photograph that he showed me was
So
of
you went
me.
you went like through boot camp with all the spiritual.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, beyond
All right.
beyond boot camp.
Anyway.
And this was before I started reading about spiritual things, before I started going to churches, before I got the Holy Ghost and all of that. I was already a Christian, and I knew how to pray a little bit and study the Bible and things, but I wasn't really aware of the ministries out there that are able to instruct me the way I learned later, how to speak with other tongues, how to fast, how to operate in the gifts of the Spirit, how to yield to the supernatural and things of that sort, which I learned from ministries such as Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, Jerry Saville, Fred Price, and other Word of Faith ministers.
So your spiritual journey started with the boot camp.
Yeah, God Himself.
And
God Himself without pastors and ministers. Yes.
So God Himself put you through this
Yes.
boot camp.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
During the time that I was working in the post office for 3.5 years. And it was so intense and so rich and so overwhelming. I mean, I woke up many times crying out of my vision, out of my supernatural experience, out of my out-of-body experience. I would just wake up weeping for the awesome presence of God that I'm experiencing. This happened dozens of times during the 3.5 years that I was in the post office. And during that time, I did in fact start going to churches and conferences, started speaking with other tongues, learning how to fast and all of that, and going to a lot of wonderful church events, Pentecostal, old-fashioned Pentecostal Spanish people around here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. Some of these white ministries having big conferences in Texas and Oklahoma, so I did familiarize myself, but I got so passionate about the things of God and then so convinced out of all the supernatural things that was happening, God blessing, man, just melting my heart. I said, oh my God, God has something for me. I got to see what's up. So I decided to resign from the post office and close myself in my room and begin to really read the Bible and really seek the Lord even more than I already was. Intensely, like I was already 1,000%. Now I'm doubling. Okay, and people don't understand. My family didn't understand. My pastor didn't understand. Christians didn't understand. This guy, he's good. He's good. What level does he intend to go? Well, it was beyond them. So within just a matter of years, before I even turned 30 years of age, I already was leaving many in the dust.
Wow.
Yeah, spiritually, I just was. So it wasn't long.
So like for people that go to so like for people who go to army and they go through the boot camp, for them it's a lot of physical load.
Yes.
That they have to train themselves to go to be able to
endure the next level of activity.
Right, exactly.
It's a matter of acclimation from level to level, from faith to faith, from glory to glory.
So for you, this spiritual boot camp that came from God Himself, was it as well as difficult or as spiritually as huge load?
As in the army.
As in the army, like.
Interesting. Most people don't know it, but I in fact did go to boot camp in Fort Dix, New Jersey, 1976. So I was
that's
in
great.
the army.
So you've done something
now,
physical.
It was easy for me because I was very physical. I was already in shape.
Uh-huh.
I used to jog and do everything. So my physical boot camp in the Army, U.S. Army, that wasn't that hard. And then also I was intelligent enough to understand their courses because there are many lectures there too.
Wow.
In the boot camp. There's not just physical training.
So spiritual boot camp from God Himself is more.
Oh yeah.
Is more.
Yeah, demanding
than
and more disciplining
than
absolutely
physical boot camp from U.S. Army.
Yeah, and let me tell you, the spiritual boot camp from God to which you refer includes the physical in some instances. For example, like I said, when I decided to resign from the post office and spend all my time 24/7, I want to see what's up. God is calling me. He keeps visiting me. He keeps bothering me. He doesn't just show me a vision once in a while like He does most Christians, a vision here, an angel there, a prophecy here or there. But it's like it's too rich here. This is like beyond the normal, I imagine. So it's got to be something special. So I decided to just never mind it. And let me tell you, there were a couple of girls in my life that I could have capitalized on.
Wow.
Yes. Yes. Oh no, I was handsome.
Wow.
I was young and handsome. Hey.
Look at that.
Hey.
Great.
I
Why didn't you do that?
could show you pictures, bro. Now
Why
I know.
didn't you do that?
I could have and should have. I somehow decided to just opt out because I knew that this thing, I mean, that would change my life. Here, I had a job in the post office.
So this thing
Here, I
was
have
holding you. This thing was holding you for.
Well, it didn't hold me like a pressure thing, like a mandatory thing. It held me in that it's like an invitation that you feel like you can't refuse. It's like you could refuse it. There's no pressure with God. But the invitation is so rich and so significant that even though you can opt out, you almost feel like you can't opt out. So I decided of my own volition to go ahead. And then he said, well, then come on. And that's where I had to say, sorry, ladies.
Well, let me ask you, let me ask you something now.
I can show you some pretty
was it pleasurable in any way? Since you,
which part?
Well, that call, that since you gave up on girls.
It was extremely glorious beyond measure.
Wow.
I can't even tell you, man, how many times, even now, still 30 years later, man, I can't even tell you, man.
Wow.
Was it? What did you say? Was it what? Was it?
Like?
Oh my God!
I'm talking. Since you could give up girls, like you're saying, good-looking girls.
Yes.
So,
oh no, you still gotta fuck with your own physical sensibility. You still got those challenges because he doesn't. He doesn't just.
So he's just
cancel
glorious.
out. He does not invalidate.
You felt the
hormones.
glory. You felt the glory.
Okay, imagine a normal, healthy man, as we say here in the West. A normal, healthy, red-blooded American.
Right.
That was me. And so imagine that.
Sexual being.
Sexual being. Thank you. A sexual being. Now, imagine that, and the Holy Ghost blesses and empowers you and gives you richness and stamina and strength and power, gives you all of that shit.
Then you don't need
without
sex.
taking away your freaking hormones.
Wow.
It gets even worse then. Because now the thing is not just physically ready to go somewhere. Hey, hello. He doesn't, your penis isn't just ready. Now your penis is ready with a freaking halo. Ready with anointing. Ready with more of the blessings. So it's even harder. Pardon the pun.
Oh, so it's even harder.
Yes.
So how was you able to give up on those girls? Was it the boot camp prepared you to do that, or you just gave up?
Honestly, if I want to give just a simple, brutal answer, I would say no. He doesn't prepare. He'll let you. He'll invite you. He'll bless you. He'll give you all those divine pleasures and ecstasies and all that. But then he'll sit back and say, "Now let's see what he's going to do with those hormones now that they're anointed." And then I said, Lord, you want to see this? So it's a challenge, and it ain't fun. Let me tell you, everybody got to deal with it. What I'm saying is not unfamiliar, albeit crude. I'm just keeping it real, telling it like it is. But let's get back to how this room was. Well, what I did was, you see, okay, so I did resign from the post office, and I did start seeking God more and more and more, even more than I already had been. And then I decided, I don't remember exactly where I got the idea, but I decided to put cardboards on my windows to cover light from coming in. Because I was seeing flashes of light, physically, not just visions or dreams of glorious lights, but I could be walking, I could be just reading the Bible or whatever, and things would happen. I would hear something. Maybe an angel said something, maybe a spiritual sound. I said, now, did that physically happen? Or is it spiritual? So I couldn't tell them. So what I decided if I can just close my windows so that it will be pitch black, particularly when it's actually dark outside. It's totally dark. Any light that I see would definitely have to be something spiritual. And I decided to use earplugs. I started using earplugs when I slept, so that not only it's dark totally, and then at night it's quiet in the neighborhood. Actually, most of the time it really is quiet in the neighborhood. You could hear, very little because people are asleep. But I decided to close my ears with earplugs, which prevents noise. It cuts down the noise that you hear by about 33%, which is significant. So that means I wouldn't hear anything and I wouldn't see anything while I tune in prayer. Now I will see no, and even if my eye, I even use a blindfold just to make sure that no light creeps in, because I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to see anything at all, so that if I did see something, it would have to be spiritual. So I yielded my eyes completely to God in that way, and my ears, I wouldn't hear anything unless it was something spiritual. So in that way, I completely gave my ears to God. So those were spiritual exercises that I invented. I don't know if I was influenced by some prophet's testimony. I don't remember that. I just know that I found that I needed to do that because I really wanted to. But is God saying something? Are there angels in here? What's going on? Let's see what's up. So I courageously said, well, let's see what's up. And so many times I had to tell my mom, tell people, I'm not here, I'm not here. If they call, I'm not here. If they call, I'm just not here, because I was so inclined. So I sought. When the Bible says, seek the things that are above and set your affection on them, I did it. I literally did it, and I proved it. And so, like
you did it and you saw it.
Yeah. So and I found, that's the thing. Heaven answered.
Oh,
see, when heaven answered, he would answer here, he would answer there, he would bless me in different spiritual, supernatural ways in answering, and he would unfold to me secrets of his word. And that's where my notes came from, that culminated in my books. So he gave me those treasures, you see, plus the experiences, plus my health, plus my sanity, plus my joy, plus my sociality, plus everything that he has given me. Oh my God, these are all answers to those seeds of dedication that I gave to him from decade to decade, in this way and in that way, that price that I paid, that way that I died, and that thing that I gave to the Lord that nobody knows. He said, what you do in secret, he will reward openly. So people say I'm blessed. You, my friend Vitali, you know that I'm blessed. My mom knows that I'm blessed. My friends, my neighbors, my friends, they know that I'm blessed, and sometimes they say it. Sometimes they say it to the nth degree. Sometimes, my brother-in-law gave me some extraordinary compliments and accolades the other day. I said, oh my God, for one of his caliber to say these things, oh my God. So what God has done, what me and God have done in secret over these last 3 decades, he has revealed openly, so that it's plain to anyone that would give me a sincere view and say, oh my God, David, you're blessed. Oh my God, your books, your talent, your skills, your life, your family, your education, oh my God, David, you're blessed. It's for a reason. A price has been paid. And so 3 years ago, finally, let's get to that. One of the things that he said was, and this just blew me away when he said it. He startled me with the words, you're 1,000 miles ahead of everybody. I told you that, right?
Right.
So I woke up.
He was who? Jesus? God?
Good question. Very good question. That's a good thing about you. You're a lot like me. You like to scrutinize. You like to be spiritual. There's hope for you, young man. That's the way to be.
Thank you.
Honestly, in this case, I can't really say. I would not think that it is Jesus himself. Because often when I have heard Jesus' voice himself, there's something extremely distinctive that it just comes across as wow.
In Jesus' voice. There's
Yes.
something distinctive.
Now, I'm not saying
in
that
Jesus' voice.
Yeah, I'm not saying that in every instance I can distinguish. I'm just saying that it is distinguishable, but I have a hard time distinguishing it, because if it's clear and articulate, like specific words, if an angel says it, or if the Holy Spirit says it, or if Jesus says it, it's all divine, it's all from God, whether through this one or that one. So it is a difficult distinction, and oftentimes I can't make the distinction. And a lot of times, a lot of people, when they say, God told me this, or Jesus said that, or the Holy Ghost revealed it, even they cannot, if you were to ask them specifically, they will say, honestly, it comes right down to it, I cannot specifically distinguish which one did it.
Which one of them?
Yeah.
Which one of 3 of
Whether
them.
it's no, it could be more. It could be an angel. It could be another angel. It could be
Oh,
a different kind of an angel.
I
It could be.
So it's not necessarily the Holy Trinity,
That's
but
right.
it could be the angel.
That's right.
Or,
And people could say, you know, God told me. God told me this, and they will be right. But specifically, it's not God the Father. When God the Father himself speaks, you really should read chapter 5 of my second book for free on my website, brooklynblessing.com.
We'll check it out.
brooklynblessing.com, my second book, Understanding Supernatural Visions According to the Bible, chapter 5 of Audible Message. I make a distinction between the voices. So you see, there is a way to try to make an accurate distinction between the voices. But finally, it is difficult to make a distinction between. And ultimately, it doesn't matter. As long as it's from God, as long as it's from his team, whether Jesus or Gabriel said it, you know what? I don't really need to distinguish right now. All I need to know that it's from that team.
All right.
As long as it's from
that
there,
team.
man.
Right,
That's
right.
really, and honestly, in the Bible, apostles, prophets, patriarchs of old, even they could not distinguish. Sometimes they say the hand of the Lord, sometimes the word of the Lord, the spirit of the Lord, the angel of the Lord, the captain of the Lord's hosts, which is Jesus, you know, or the angel of the Lord. The angel of the Lord can be Jesus, or it could be the angel of Jesus. Wow. So we can go into a whole comprehensive study on that alone. But number one, it wouldn't be empirical. You will not be able to prove, and distinguish all of the various because there's too many variable dynamics at work, number one. Number two, it doesn't matter. As long as it's from that team, it's good enough for me. That's all I need.
And what shows that it's from that team?
Ah, that's what matters. That is what matters. But that's easy. Honestly, that's the easy part.
Enlighten us, please.
That's the easy part.
Enlighten us.
Well, it has to be something that is good. Okay? Because in God there's nothing but goodness.
Right.
Whether that goodness shows up in something that's not so good initially, like let's say God shows you something, but it begins with somebody's gonna die, and you will not have fun for the next month. It's gonna be unfun. See, it's negative. You don't want that. But behind
But
that,
it's still from God.
it could still be from God, but it will culminate. It would lead to never. But I will bless you. I will strengthen you. I will keep you. And there is something, a surprise for you in the following months. So be strong. This is not going to be a fun event for you, but it will turn into. There will be a blessing, and there will be a. So you see, even if it comes with something dark, negative, bad, that appears to be those things, it will always culminate in a blessing. Because he is blessing. He can't help himself. He is blessing. He is love. He is goodness, you see. So, and if we merit that. Now, if we're bad, if we're evil, and we don't merit, we don't deserve a blessing, then there'll be a...
So
there will be something harsh.
As long as the message about something good, that comes from the good party.
That's a good part to be. That's a good place to begin to understand what team it's from. That's one of the
one
ABCs.
part of the.
Yeah, that's one part. There's a number of things. Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh, should I go?
Well, let's
into
not
it?
go into all of the things. Let's go.
It could be evil when there's a darkness and a present and a fear and a terror that comes on you, that there seems to be no escape, and it almost brings you into a desperate anxiety where you have to begin to say, Lord, help me. When it comes to that, then you know that that thing that caused that oppression is not of God. Because like I said, if it was something negative of God, it will include and culminate in that goodness. When it's bad, but it doesn't culminate in a goodness, it doesn't lead to a positive thing, then it's nothing but oppressive, and it makes you want to cry out for, save me from that shit, Jesus. Then you know that's evil. So that's ABCs. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. For a sincere heart, this is the thing, man. For a sincere, because you see, there are a lot of people that are not sincere. Whether or not they show sincerity, it's another show. But in their heart, they're not sincere, not pure in motive, not pure in the essentials that God really keeps in mind. If they're not pure, well, then God can't really help them. He can bless here, bless there, but no, he's very limited. And those distinctions and the inclination to follow the good, they're not in a person who is essentially bad or evil. God is not with them, period. So let's not even talk about
Well,
those.
none of us are perfect.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those who essentially are not on the side of the Lord. Yeah, and there are many quote-unquote Christians that are not truly on the side of the Lord. Yeah. And there are many people who are not Christians. They're secular.
Right,
they smoke, they drink, they curse, they do all kinds of shit. There's no
let's
Christian.
not go there.
There's no Christianese to them, but inside
it's a whole
they
different
have
topic.
the holy disposition.
It's a whole different topic.
Right.
So let's go back.
All right. So then God told me you're 1,000 miles. So I went like this, and I'm saying, thinking to the Lord, who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Okay, Lord. Oh, come on now. What do you mean? Come on, Lord. What does that mean? Oh, what do you mean? 1,000 miles?
The Lord told you are 1,000 miles ahead of everybody.
Yes. Word for word, like that, clearly.
Okay.
Yes. And like I said before, it probably wasn't Jesus, so usually something of Jesus' face would show up, and his voice would be distinctly Jesus, for the most part.
So there was a voice.
So this one, yeah. So
There was
this
a
one,
voice.
therefore, was, only this year I saw one of the angels that speaks to me. Now, Gabriel is in charge of my life and ministry directly, but there are a number of other angels around him serving him as well, to minister for me. But which angel it was, I'm not so concerned with that at all, especially now. What matters is that something from God was said to me, and I'm trying to make sense of it. So that it came so distinctly at that time. I'm saying, so I'm acting startled. I'm saying, so then the thought came to me, as if, I don't know that it really happened, but it was as if the angel was saying, come on, why are you acting so surprised? So then I started chuckling in my bed, in the dark, in the middle of the night. And I'm saying to him, yeah, you're right. Why am I acting so startled? Well, of course it's true. Why am I acting surprised? If you know it, I know it. Okay, all right. Never mind this false humility. Me, oh, you got to be kidding. Oh, that can't be from God. No, let's be honest. Yeah, it's very easy to believe. Because I know what's out there. I've been to enough places to make a fair assessment of great ministers, really great ministers, and really, really great ministers, and Christians.
So the Lord...
And I know me. So it was not hard for me to say, well, you know what?
The Lord then, he was referring to you,
yes,
being ahead of everybody
Everybody. Yeah.
Spiritual.
Yes.
On spiritual level.
Yes.
Meaning what? That you can...
Very good question. And nobody asks these questions. Red did ask me a couple of questions like, ahead of everybody in the world or in the church world or ever in the universe or what? So I said, okay, now you're good. Okay, that's good. Let's talk. Let's see. I don't know. But I will tell you, when that happened, okay, obviously I went back to sleep and had a nice sleep. The next day, I just happened to be with Red in his car driving, and we were going to hang out. As we're on the highway and I'm telling him, oh gosh, he instantly said, oh, of course, yeah, this is Red. This is Prophet Red. He has prophesied to everybody. 30 years. By the way, he told me, David, I prophesied to the best. And my most significant and profound prophecies have been to you. I said, wow, that's a confirmation. That agrees with the idea I'm ahead of. Now,
so another prophet agrees.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, several people. Oh, I could give you testimonies. But listen, let me tell you what happened. So I'm telling Red what happened.
Let me say it. Another prophet agrees that you being ahead of everybody, it's true about you.
Yes.
But he still asks you, what does it mean?
No, he still asked me how far.
Like
how are
far,
the implications?
Or what it means.
Does it mean I'm 1,000 miles ahead of everybody currently and in the church world only, or everybody in the world, inside of the church as well as outside, secular as well as religious? How about from all generations? Am I I'm 1,000 miles ahead of everybody of this generation, or ever, including all generations? He asked. I said, well, gee, I don't know. And to this day, I don't know. And I don't want to know shit, man. You know how scary that freaking is? That's some freaking scary shit. This ain't no, it's a scary freaking thought. It's a nice thought. It's a nice and happy thought when it's not true. But when it's true, it's the freaking scariest freaking thing in the freaking world, man.
But if it's scary, it wouldn't be not from God?
No. Because it's scary in a healthy way.
Alright.
It's healthy, yeah. But let me tell you what happened with Red. So me and Red are talking about this. So he's chuckling. He said, "Oh yeah, of course, I believe." And he instantly agreed. Even though he asked me those questions later on, he asked me those questions. But initially, he just chuckled and said, "Oh, David, who doesn't know that, man? Oh, absolutely." Then, so he got me. He said, "In fact, David, when you talk, I listen." He said, "Do you notice, David, on the phone, in the car, wherever we are, when you get to going, when you really get riled up and you get to going, talking about what you talk about," he said, I don't want to miss a word because you share so many golden nuggets. I don't want to miss a golden nugget." I said, "Oh my God, that's the best compliment I ever heard." Of course, it's true, but to hear that just to hear it, it's wow, it made my day. But this is the interesting thing is. So I got so encouraged because,
So that means each of your word is a golden nugget.
I wouldn't say each because I like to say a lot of stupid, silly stuff. As a comedian, I like to just fuck around.
Alright, between some...
Oh, no, I say shit. Oh, yeah.
Between some cent, you get golden nuggets.
I will say, yeah. If a person can tolerate my stupidness, there's going to be a whole lot of golden nuggets there. Let me tell you, I know that there's a lot of people out there that have golden nuggets too.
There is another prophet that compliments you on your words being
an 85-year-old guy with a whole lot of, I would mention a
whole lot of more experience.
Man, this guy would take me to all kinds of places and they celebrate him. This guy is not a joke. So for someone of his caliber to be my friend,
as an older person, being prophet for more than 30 years, telling you that some of your words are golden nuggets for him, besides of course those that just send, he would not want when he washes for gold, he would not want to lose any of those nuggets, so he would take everything in and brush out the
But the non-gold stuff is still entertaining.
Right. But it's just it's just the compliment that's coming from somebody who's more
amazing. I was his mentor, actually. I was his mentor. But let me tell you what happened. So then in our conversation in the car, so he's happy about what I'm saying. I'm happy about what he's saying about what I said, that God said. So we're excited. So I'm getting all pumped up and I said, man, of course I'm 1,000 miles, man. Shit. What the heck am I doubting for? Shit, man, just think. Let's see what's here. Let's see what's there. It's a no freaking brainer.
So you agree with what God's saying?
As I am agreeing, which I already agreed, even a few moments after I got it.
So with Red in the car while we have a conversation,
so then I went as far. Yeah, I'm agreeing now. I'm getting hyped up. So I got so comedic about it. I said, you know what? I think God is even wrong. I ain't no 1,000 miles ahead of everybody. I'm 10,000 miles ahead of everybody. Jesus, I'm sorry. Psst, I ain't 1,000. I'm a 10,000. I'm 10,000 miles because I got all riled up. Knowing my history and knowing my acquaintances, knowing my affiliations, knowing my experiences in the church world, I absolutely am 10,000 miles ahead of everybody.
Knowing your
and when I said that,
comedic abilities.
So look what happened. So when I said, Lord, you're wrong, and Red is there in the car, I said, you know what, Red? You know what, Lord? You're wrong, Lord. I'm not 1,000. I'm 10,000 miles ahead of everybody. So then...
Did Lord like your joke?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Because he said nothing and he did nothing, and we had a nice evening. And that night, 24 hours after...
The Lord answered to your joke.
Yes. And look what he said. Did I tell you?
No.
Didn't I tell you? I must have told you. If I told you the first part, I must have told you this one. The first night, he says, you're 1,000 miles ahead of everybody. The next afternoon, I'm talking with Red about it, and I'm saying, Lord, I'm not 1,000 miles, I'm 10,000 miles ahead of everybody. The next night, 24 hours after the first message from the Lord, he says this. Now, I'm sleeping again. I'm not bothering God. I'm not even thinking about these things. I'm not making a religion out of these things. I'm not thinking of how I'm going to put this and signs and wonders and lights and all that. No, I don't care, man. I don't care. He knows something. I agree. Hey, that's it. I don't want to make a whole thing.
All right, so you wake up.
But he startles me again. And he says this. It was as if an angel said, 10,000 miles. So he said it louder than he said it the first night, right? 24 hours earlier. He said it more concisely and more profoundly. The first night he says, you're 1,000 miles ahead of everybody. 24 hours later he says, 10,000 miles. How humorous is that? How clever, how charismatic is that of this angel to say that after so then the next day I saw Red again and I said, oh my God, Red, guess what happened?
In other words, he keeps on entertaining your joke.
God is yes.
The angel himself.
Yeah. God, the angel, Jesus,
amazing.
Gabriel, I don't know who it is. But
that's amazing.
Like whoever it is, thank you. Is it you? I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I'm getting these things, and I absolutely believe these things. And
you must be.
If I'm crazy,
if
this is my imagination, if this is what they call delusions of grandeur, if this is my rich imagination, listen. So if that's true, if it's just me, why would an anointed, serious prophet? I say serious because he really is serious, even though he's extremely funny. Red. Why would he agree? Then, John Scotland. One of these very popular revivalists that I have come to know over the last decade or so. He, in the same year, he sees me in a meeting in Long Island. This was like April, I believe it was April 2009. And he comes to me in the kitchen. I'm sitting there in front of some food. I was sitting there in the kitchen in front of some food. So John Scotland comes, he gets some soda, and as he passes me, he says, David, you're on a level that is way beyond what I can even reach. Now, this is coming from a guy who is extremely spiritual. Now, soon after that, me and Red and Fred went to a church in Queens. We met a couple of pastors that we never had met them before, never saw them again. But after the service, Red and Fred and I spoke with these two pastors. As we're talking, and I say we, but I really mean me. So then the pastor says, oh my God. Now this is an intelligent pastor. He's written some books. He speaks like an educated man. So he's not uninformed. And he just met me. And I didn't have a suit and tie or a big Bible. But yet, whatever I was talking about, he said, oh my God, David, you're 30 years ahead of everybody. So I went on talking some more, as I usually do. 5 minutes later, he says, you ain't 30 years ahead of everybody. You're 40 years ahead of everybody. Wow. I said, now you're beginning to get... Now, this is a guy who never met me before, but he let me talk. And he listened, and he said, oh my God, you are saying things that, oh my God, I am a pastor, I am a writer, I am an author, I know things, but yet I have never heard that.
Wow.
Yes, so that's not...
But he didn't know that's actually 40 multiplied by another 40.
Who else said some things? I got a couple of things like that that really agree with the idea that, David, you're saying things and you have stuff that we're not finding anywhere. And remember we talked yesterday about Steven Spielberg? That's in the secular entertainment realm. In the church world, let's use another guy. There's this guy, Kenneth Copeland. One of my mentors that I never met. Well, I met him, I shook his hand once or twice in a couple of meetings, but I never really got to know him personally. But I've been to a lot of his conferences, listened to a lot of his tapes, and I got a lot out of his ministry, where he teaches on prayer, the gifts of the Holy Spirit, supernatural things. So really, his teaching has enriched, his ministry has enriched me for a very long time. Yet, he doesn't talk about certain things that I do. If he knows about those things, I think I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he knows some of the things that I know. I know that he knows things that I don't know, and I know that I know things that he doesn't know. He has taught me, I can teach him. But I had a vision showing me that I went ahead of him, which confirmed to me the initial dream that I'm ahead of everybody. So what the heck does that mean? Why should I share that? Would it be egoistic and self-serving if I were to tell people? I know it sounds like that. Because humble Christians are not supposed to talk like that. Humble Christians should be humble. And that means don't do things that are self-serving. Listen, man, look at the web, look at TV. Everybody does shit that's self-serving. In fact, some do it to the degree that they will actually stomp on you like a cockroach to serve themselves somehow. So I don't buy that false humility idea of, oh, well, we shouldn't say things that seem to lift us. They all do it. And here, I'm the one that can do it, and it'll be true. I'm not the only one that can lift myself up, and it'll be true. There are others that can say great things about themselves, and it'll be true. I'm not a hater. But I'm just saying, if others merit that, and they give that, they say that, and they get that, fine. Then it shouldn't be wrong for I too, for David A. Castro also, to say something that is so, even though it may sound self-serving. Self-serving? Look, man, I don't know, I don't care. All I'm saying, I'm just telling you, well, to what benefit is it for people to know? Because if people are seekers and they don't know where to go, shall I read that book? Shall I read that book? I'm seeking God. I'm seeking prayer. I want to be spiritual. I want God to use me and speak to me. I want more of God. Where should I go? Well, I'm not going to say, oh, I don't know. I've written a few humble little things, but I'm nobody. I ain't going to do that. I'm going to tell you the freaking truth. You want the real freaking truth? Look, that's a good book, and that's a stupid book. That's a bad book, and that's a good book. But you want a good book? You want a book that is really the best along certain lines? Psst, my books.
Those are your books.
That's
yes.
right.
Great. I've read some of them.
Some of those that are considered tops as teachers and writers on certain themes that I speak to. They learn from me.
Great research according to the Bible. All of your
According
books.
to the Bible.
All
My
your
friend
books.
Raymond Moran told me recently that, David, all these guys, man, this is a popular theme, what you have written about. You're the first writer on these things. You were writing and experiencing these kinds of supernatural things and writing comprehensively and articulately in an anointed way about these things before this thing became a trend. Now people have created this trend. People have jumped on the bandwagon. People that know how to write have written along these lines, and they're making a killing in that market, and that's fine. That's fine. But then, whatever happened to my piece of the pie? If indeed I am one of the apostles in these things, one of the first ones, so where's my cut? Well, I'm in God's hands, man. Let them have the party. They can have the party, they can have the platform, they can have the benefits thereof in this lower world, and that's fine. Hey, if they did it kosherly, fine. Not kosherly, hey. I did it kosherly, and I'm so fine, I can't tell you. Because things that happen in this world, the Bible says, like drop of vapor. In an instant perishes. It's the eternal that I'm concerned about. And with regard to that, I ain't even concerned, because I haven't seen that, and I'm fine. I am so fine. In the things eternal, that's what really matters. But anyway, I can tell you a number of things. But I will not publicize everything, because it will really blow some people's mind. But let me go ahead and share. The Lord showed me stuff of
Well, before we go there,
yes, speak forth.
well, before we go into the revelation that you have for me, I wanted to ask you about for those who are seeking, for those people that are seeking God, and apparently your books are the best. So tell us where can we find your books?
BrooklynBlessing.com.
Okay, that's your website.
That's my website. Take your time. my movie, my sci-fi projects, my comedy. There's a lot of different things there. But my books pages, my books page has all the descriptions of all my books. Read those descriptions. The second book you can read right there on my website for free in its entirety, or order the hard copy from Amazon.com. All 6 of my books are available on Amazon.com. Over the years,
Okay.
I have purchased my own books.
What are
and
what are
given
the
them-
names? What are the names? What books you have?
Oh, they're so long. Oh, this is going to take a whole minute just to give all the titles.
Well, I remember one of them was Dreams According to
No,
the Bible.
Understanding
Understanding.
Supernatural Dreams, according to the Bible, a living classic.
Okay.
All of my dreams have to do with the supernatural.
Right.
Dreams, visions, trances, angels, the voice of God, including out-of-body experiences, including ambience around a person, a certain place, certain locations. Some places are anointed.
So for
more
those
than
people
others.
who are seeking those experiences, or for those that already have something similar, they can refer to that book, which is
My first
titled
3 books are the best to get. Dreams, because I comprehensively cover all that a person needs. It doesn't
Okay.
cover everything in the world. There are other good books too, don't get me wrong. But as far as the richness of my experience to produce that book, the comprehensive exact nature, over 500 references to the Bible, Old and New Testaments, various versions of the Bible, Amplified, Today's Living Version, and others. So I am serious about basing everything on scriptural principles. So I am very sober in that regard, but I'm very high in my experiential. So yes, that makes this book outstanding among its peers. My second book as well. Now recently, just this year, 2012, you might like this. I don't think I told you. I haven't really told people. I told 1 or 2 people. Out of nowhere, I had a dream about 3 or 4 months ago showing me that what I contribute in my writings and in my articulation, my teaching, my ministry, my life, what I am and what I have to give is nomenclature. That word stuck out clearly. So I woke up and I had a sense of the richness of this message. But I had to say to myself, oh my God, I've got to look up this word. I've never heard of this word before. I've never heard of this word before. What is this? Nomenclature? I looked it up. Do you know what it means? It's a language system. It's something.
right. It's to place things in the order.
Yes.
It's
I
like
do that.
shelves.
I am that. I have that. Here, all these decades, I have done that, and I did not know. It was just a word that God showed me. This is what you are. This is what you give. This is what you have contributed. So it makes perfect sense that my friend, who was the first one to read my dreams book, when I wrote my book, my friend was the first one to read the first draft of the dreams book in 1988. I began that book in February 88. I mean, I had notes from previous years, but this one was the serious. Began in February 88, and in the summer of 88, when the first draft of the manuscript was finished, and my friend Raymond Moran read it, he said, David, now this is a doctorate. This guy is intelligent. He wrote a book as well. He established churches. This guy is not a joke. So he says, David, oh my God, of course. So he says, David, what you have done here, this is foundation, David. Oh, the guy's an apostle, by the way. So he says, David, what you have written here. Now, he didn't know a whole lot about what kind of dreams books are out there in the body of Christ or whatever, but he said other books on dreams approach this. And henceforward, books on dreams would have to reference what you've done here, because obviously this is solid, this is comprehensive, this is like a foundation, that this is like a must read. I said, wow, that's good. Now that was 1988. Over 2 decades later, after further polishing, obviously it has been polished and improved more. So yes, it is. I say with every confidence, I mean, I haven't even begun to tell you a few things that the Lord has told me about that dreams book. But yes, books on dreams approached mine, and books after mine on dreams would have to reference it and consider it an authority, because the Lord said that it is there. It began with rich experiences directly with God, and then my own personal studies. By the way, when God told me to read that, to write that book, which I started in '88, I had notes for it already in previous years. But in '88, January and February, when I first started the first draft, the Lord told me not to read other books, because I said, well, if you're going to write a book on dreams, if I'm going to write a book on dreams, it makes sense that I should read other Christian books about dreams to familiarize myself with the lingo, to try to understand, make sure I'm in the right spirit, to make it make sense. It's only appropriate and healthy that if you're going to write a Christian book, you should read other Christian books so as to engage other Christians and not be a lone ranger. That made sense to me, but the Lord said no. The Lord said no. Don't read other books about dreams from God. Just write your book based on the notes that I give you, based on your own research, based on what you have already studied. I said, oh my God, what a challenge. But I happened to be in Manhattan. This is 1988. I happened to be in Manhattan. I happened to be at Christian Publications, which every Christian here in the city knows. That was the largest Christian bookstore at that time. Christian Publications around 8th Avenue, 34th Street or something like that. I happened to be there, so I said, let me see what they got anyway. Now, this is the biggest Christian bookstore in the city, and you can order books. If they don't have it, they'll order for you. Well, I said, well, can you show me what books you might have on the topic of dreams according to the Bible? So I was in a way disobeying God, but in a way just simply curious. And I said, Lord, I don't know if I'm going to buy some. Can I just see what they got? They had nothing. They had nothing on the shelves. I even asked the manager, do you have anything on the subject of Christian dream interpretation, dreams, something, by Riffle, by somebody? I don't know. What do you have? They had nothing. I said, if I wanted to order, I said, Lord, I'm not disobeying you. I don't know if I'm going to order, but let's see what they have anyway. Well, they're able to order from other book distributors around the nation. They looked on their database. They found nothing. Now, how that's possible, I don't know. That they didn't have anything, and that they couldn't find anything on their database that they could order for me, that is really strange. So I got a feeling that the Lord supernaturally intervened and just made it so that I would not be able, because it's possible that if I found something that they can order for me or on their shelf, it's possible I would have bought that. Maybe gleaned something, and the Lord was trying to tell me, don't. I want you to learn from your own research, as I will visit you and teach you and guide you and all that stuff. So I said, well, I couldn't find anything. This is really strange. But I did go ahead, and in '88, February, March, April, May, June, July, all the way until I finished the first draft, it was just from my own research, for the most part. I don't know what else I may have picked up. I know I saw a documentary on television, Channel 13, and I took some notes. And if a Christian said something in a church, because people get dreams from the Lord, I don't know. But I do know that the Lord oversaw. Then, in 1992, when I was in Kansas, my editor said, David, the Lord showed me an extraordinary vision this morning where my dog was telling me You got to tell David something. He said, David, this is a trance. And my dog, Charlie, is talking to me, telling me, you got to tell David something. You got to tell David. He said, but Charlie, how can you talk to your dog?
If the dog is talking, that must be important.
And he said, but what is it? And the dog told my editor, you got to tell David. He forgot to thank Gabriel. So when my editor told me this, at first I wasn't so impressed. People say, oh, I had a vision.
The
I had
dogs,
a
they
dream.
feel that.
The
dogs, they feel that.
Yeah, yeah, pets do. So then, I'm over. Is that recording?
Yes.
Okay, now this is important. I'm going to try to end this, but this is important because he had 2 cats that were extremely anointed also. So I'm not impressed
the
at
cats
first.
were anointed?
Yeah. So E.J. Irish, my editor, Kansas City, he's helping me to edit the book and put in the computer, and so I wrote my acknowledgments page as it was one of the last parts of the book. We did the book, we put it into the computer. We were almost done, and I knew one night I had to write the acknowledgments page. I wrote the acknowledgments page. I'm thanking Mom. I'm thanking the editor. I'm thanking a couple other people, and that was it. I thanked Jesus. Then that morning, EJ tells me the dog shows up in this powerful vision and tells you got to tell David he forgot to thank Gabriel. To me, that was clear. Now, that blew me away. When he was telling me I had this vision, I wasn't so impressed because people tell me about visions all the time. Oh, I had a vision, I had a dream, I had a trance. You know, it's normal to me, so I'm not, it doesn't blow my mind. But this one blew my mind.
If dog spoke to me,
yeah, but no, that's what he said. But he forgot to thank. It was the first time, in a powerful way, that God was trying to let me know Gabriel is involved in your ministry. And after that, I began to get other visions about Gabriel's involvement. But that was the first one that impacted me, blew me away, and then I did include Gabriel in my acknowledgments. So when you read my dreams book, in the acknowledgments, you notice I say, I want to thank Gabriel, the chief messenger of divine revelations, for all his angelic assistance. Because let me tell you, many times in my writing, an epiphany would come. It was like a thought would come into my mind, and a sentence, and a phrase, sometimes a whole paragraph, and a whole clearly articulated sentence would come to me. I said, oh my God, I gotta write this, I gotta write this. Boom, 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 boom. I said, oh, wow. Excellently articulated.
All right, let's cut this.
And I'm intelligent, and I got a good vocabulary, but sometimes the way these things come about is like, oh my God, I think I'm being divinely inspired here. So yes, I might hear a voice, but most of the time I didn't hear a voice. Most of the time it was just thoughts.
Let's cut it to the chase.
So the dreams book is not a joke. The dreams book is not a joke. The dreams book is not a joke.
Is that?
If you touch it in a beautiful way, beautiful things will happen to you. If you touch it in an ugly way, other things will happen. So be sincere, be pure, be honest, and be of God. Be of God, and God will be for you, and the sky is
unlimited.
the limit. Yeah, there's no limit. Exactly.
Be open-minded.
Absolutely.